Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Hey, today we are doing What If Deku Was a Girl and a Todoroki Part 1. I'm knowing from that, and in the title it says What If Deku Was a Todoroki. I'm just being lazy. Short story. I'm just being lazy. I'm not really wanting to do it because, well, I think the longer the title, the less likely people are to click on it. So yeah. Anyway. So, of course, well, Deku's gonna roughly have, and I'm gonna keep on calling female Deku just because it's easier, but please tell me in the comments down below, what should I call female Deku? Because I'm not gonna say female Deku. I'm either gonna say Deku or the name that you guys suggest, which will then be in part 2 next week, Tuesday. I've got a feeling I'll be recording another video tomorrow, which will be Wednesday for you guys. Yes, Wednesday for you guys and Tuesday for me. Anyway, so when well, I always think Saito. Saito Todoroki. So when Saito and Deku are born, because they're twins, or well, Deku is Saito's twin sister. And there's a reason why. So I'll just put out there that yes, you know, Deku's getting a quirk or getting quirk. Well, yeah, getting quirk. She's still gonna get one for all, just because I think currently that I know of, as I've watched up to season 4, all of season 4, that Nana Samora, I think that's her name. I think she's the she's the 7th user of 1-4. She's the only female that we know of that's used it. So I just felt like, well, it makes sense to, you know, have another girl do it, and plus make, well, I guess, the Todoroki family just slightly less, you know, boys and with one more girl, at least. Because I know there's only one other girl in Saito's family, which is... okay. Which is called Natsu. Oh no, it's not. No, that's the older brother. Fuyumi? I think I'm saying it right. Fuyumi. I think I'm saying it right. I don't know. But, yes. She's, well, she's just Deku's older sister now. So, of course, when they're born, Deku's born with, well, firstly, if you've seen Fairy Tail, the main protagonist in Fairy Tail, which is Natsu, so if you have seen Fairy Tail, you know Natsu's hair colour, that's the same colour that pinkish, reddish pinky colour. And that's the colour that Deku's hair is going to be, so there's a reason why. So, of course, Todoroki, I was going to say the same hair colour and that, obviously. And, well, yeah. So, of course, Todoroki is born in Enji? Or just Endeavour? No thanks, yes, his perfect child is born. Because, of course, his perfect child means, well, Saito, because, well, Saito's born, well, or his, you know, his quirk is half and half, or, well, yeah, half cold. Yeah. And, well, of course, when then Deku is born, well, she's, of course, born with, like, pink straight hair, as I just mentioned. And never feel oh well, at least I've got one, perfect child that will be able to defeat All Might. And well, of course, he thinks, he's hoping that Saito is the perfect child because half his hair is white and the other half is red, so he's hoping, that Saito is the half and half that he wants. And so, because when they're around 4 years old, they would go to the quack doctor, and of course, Saito would be up first. And they would, the quack doctor, after examining him, would say, your son here, Todoroki, has got his quack is half hot, half cold. Go, okay, now what about the gal? Well, would say my name, which you guys will tell me in the comments down below. Hopefully. And if not, I would have to try and come up with one between now and next week. And I'm not good with naming things, so anyway. So he would go, she's got a fire type quirk, and he's already, and he just thinks, oh wow. And of course, before before the person can finish, of course he walks out. Of course going, at least I've got Saito, my perfect child, and his daughter is a failure, he thinks. And of course, if the doctor thinks, so that they don't want to know what other quirk Deku's got. And I hope I'm saying Saito's mum's name right. R-E-A. So I think it's Ri. Ri Todoroki will go, well, carry on. He may not listen, but I am. I'm gonna listen. And, and it'd go, okay, well, your daughter, Mrs. Todoroki, your daughter has got it's a dragon type fire. So yes, of course Natsu, she's also getting Natsu's flame, or Natsu's dragon flame, which is of course the most overpowered flame in all of Fairy Tail at least. And so what Deku will be able to do all that Natsu can do with his flame, just once he learns how to. And it's like, yeah, and you said another quirk, more like another 2 quirks, huh? So she's got 3 quirks, yes and no, it's more like 2 of them are the same, but they're evolved, one's evolved and one isn't, which is puzzling her. It's puzzling me. It's like, okay, they're both ice type quirks. It's like, okay, so the first one is like, your ice type quirk. It's like, okay, and the other is, it's like blue ice. It's a lot more, I guess, what you'd say, resistance to fire in that. It's a evolution of the ice type quirk. It's rare. So okay, so she's got 3 quirks. One's just an evolution of the other. It's like, yeah. And also when they test her, she's Todoroki, or Saito. He does he of course doesn't have the same issue like you and your husband have, which is you get, of course, once you get too cold you can't use your quirk, and or your husband, once he gets too hot he stops being able to use his quirk. well, of course, it's like been half and half. It's like, yeah, so then how comes, well, my daughter's hair is like a pinkish red colour, not half white and half red. Well, it's because she can use her crook all over her body. So, what all over is like, yes, so she can use her file all over her. It's like, what that? Well, no, she doesn't really even have to switch to cool herself down. Because, well, as she's using it, it seems like she's also using an ice type crack, or at least. Oh, so she's already using two of them? Is that okay? It seems like it, as it's like a very small like layer between like her skin or her clothes and the fire where it's ice there, so it seems to she seems to keep herself cool whilst using her flame, so she's able to use her flame well a lot longer and increase the flame to a lot higher temperature, because all that happen is that ice would then start slowly forming around her body to of course keep her cool, keep the body regulated. So it's like, Soto literally has an issue because, well, if he goes too hot on one side, well, there's going to be an issue because one side's, boiling hot and the other side's freezing cold. He still is going to suffer from it, just not as bad. Only when he goes, well, Soto, I think once he goes to extreme temperatures like blue flame, that's when he's going to get too hot and that. And of course, Deku won't, or female Deku won't, because, well, she's got the ice all around her body when she's using her fire, and then kind of roughly the same thing where, like, she's using like an fire, but like inside or inside her belly at least, or somewhere where her, or like where her aura itself, or like very thin part of her skin all over is like on fire, and then the ice is above that. Of course, again creating the like boundary layer, I guess you'd say, boundary layer effect, and that is where that is how so yeah, that's why she doesn't suffer with the same issue. Even if she goes to the extreme, the only thing she'll do is probably start and then running out of stamina because she's kind of got two quirks running at the same time. So she's going to run out of stamina a lot faster. At first, a lot faster because she's got two quirks activating instead of just one. But means once she's got a stamina issue figured out, she can, she'll be able to use it for an incredibly long amount of time. And of course, the ice, like, it really only forms, it really only starts forming after like a certain amount of, say, time with her lowest flame, maybe being like around 100 C or that. Not really sure what the lowest, I guess, flame could be, but I'd say around 100. Like, say around 100, she'll be able, there'd be very little to no ice because the, of course, gradual, like, heat to the body is so low that it'd be only, like, after maybe 2 or 3, or even, like, 4 or 5 hours after using, constantly using her quirk, will she have to, well, not will she have to, is then her other quirk will then activate to then keep her body regulated, and then like cool her down, so like say back to 20, then again then her body temperature would slowly rise. Well, no, it'd keep it in the sweet spot of around, I think, 25 to 30 Celsius when her quirk's activated. So yeah, and and well, yeah, of course, this is, I'm saying this because this is going to play a big role in a very short amount of time. I hope that makes sense. Well, I hope you guys understand that and hope it makes sense to all of you. Yeah. If not, just tell me in the comments down below and I'll not remake it, but I'll just type in the comments what I pretty much said. Just a shorter version. Anyway. So, yeah, so of course one around then 6 years old, so 2 years after, they've, had that quite checked out. Todoroki will be close to, it'd be close to Deku, his young sister, because they're the same age and that, so he would be close to her, and the only people that would know that Deku actually has and half and half crack is Todoroki, of course, Lee, as she asked, the fight to carry on, and dang it, I have to say that now. And Fuyumi. I think I'm getting worse at pronunciating that every time. Fuyumi. Yes, that. And they're the only three that I'm gonna know. That Deku's got a half and half crack. Yeah. All the rest really aren't gonna know that Deku has a half and half crack. And so, of course, when they're 6 years old, I think it's when they're roughly 6. She ends up pouring the boiling hot water in the kettle all over Saito, or over Saito's over Sato's flame side of his face, of his body. And yeah, of course she does end up apologising. But of course, instead of Saito being scared of his mum, he's instead furious at his dad. And that's when Ree decides to then move out. So instead of her being sent to a mental hospital, I think, hospital by, of course, Endeavour, instead she ends up moving out, but of course she would take, and this is what I've kind of been thinking of, because she would definitely take Ree with her, being, at least having one of her children along with her. And what I was not sure about was having Todoroki's older sister, Fuyumi, or whatever, but I don't think so. Of course, my dream Endeavour she would have told Endeavour that, and Endeavour really wouldn't think anything of it. It's just, okay, at the least, or that, or whatever. His daughter is perfect child that he thinks. And of course, then Todoroki starts his rebellion phase once they move out. Even though, of course, Deku would still keep in touch with Saito, yes. She would still keep in touch with Saito that throughout the years, of course. Deku will be able to create stuff with her eyes and palace type stuff. Anything she wants, like swords, horse, if she really wanted, an ice horse. But what she is also able to do is she's able to make her eyes both are quirks, both are ice quirks. Like how the ice very clear, like as clear as glass, pretty much, and incredibly dense. And so, because the first one is able to like her or I guess like reuse like yeah, or Deku's mum's quirk, or Todoroki's mum's quirk, yeah, that one, the yeah, the ice quirk one, that it is still able to be melted by like well, it'd have to be a blue flame, but it is still able to melt. But a the blue ice quark, or the evolved form of the ice quark, that one is able to, well, not be melted. Like, its most densest one, it's not able to be melted at all. It's that dense. That no, well, except from, Deku's own fire, it's otherwise besides from that, it's unable to pretty much be melted by fire. Which, yeah. So, well, as I grown up, of course, well, we Todoroki, she thinks, well, and because, well, she would have like a doctor going and seeing her like every week to check up on her, and probably also, to check up on like Deku, her daughter, and well, of course, when Deku's around like 8 years old, of course, her mum's like, well, I don't know how much more I can teach you. You may have to start, of course, you may have to actually start taking you to school. And Deku, no, I don't want to. I want to, stay home with you. Because, well, Deku is quite smart, or she's at least smarter than she is in canon. And so, of course, when, well, her mum thinks of it and then decide, well, and, the doctor would also say, oh, you could always, find, like, a job in at a high school, maybe, UA, because I think they're hiring. I think they're looking for, some, heroes, black pro heroes. She's got, oh, yeah, but I'm not a pro hero. He's like, yeah, but you're very good at using your quirk, though, so maybe. And plus, you're Endeavor's, well, wife, so maybe, may accept it. It's like, and so she, goes to, UA, and she, applies for a job there as a, well, well, not sure what type of job she'd apply at, for UA, but she's then, accepted. UA ends up hiring her. And of course, she ends up, meeting up with Nezu, and Nezu, goes, oh, how are you, you and your kids? And well, she goes, well, I'm really, well, I live on my own. She goes, oh, and would kind of explain. Well, yeah, she would explain what's going on, and go, oh, okay, and you said your daughter was in this school. It's like, no, I've been homeschooling her. Her. Well, and I'm kind of fearing that I may have to put her into school, even though she doesn't want to, because she's like so smart. It's like putting her into school would be just, telling her, like, pretty much calling her up and babysitting her, and, babysit her, look after her for, when I'm here, teach, well, do my job. And it goes, well, I can, well, if, well, if we can see, how smart she is, we may be able to actually put in one of the lessons. So when you're working, you can bring your daughter here, and well, we can look after her, and plus, she's still be able to learn from other teachers, like throughout the day. And if she gets maybe smart enough, well, then if someone's off, one of the teachers off, she may be able to replace that teacher. Foreshadowing. And well, and so that going for like 12, well, yeah, for around 12 years. Well, not for 12 years. so now, because Deku and Todoroki are, well, sorry, Deku and Saito are 12 years old. And, well, they've still been, talking, and I'm always going to end up calling him Todoroki. That's his, like, nickname for me for some odd reason. But Saito ends up going, why are you still using, types of fire? Because, like, one day when they meet up, it's like, what do you mean that's, like, fire quack? Well, it's his quack, it's how we got our fire from. It's like, oh no, like, Dad doesn't tell, or, like, doesn't control when I turn it on, when I turn it off, when I activate it, what I do with it. It's my quirk, not his, it's in my own body. It's my will's fire, it's not his. I control what I want my fire to do. You control what your fire wants to do. What? As well, because his not wanting to use his fire is, well, kind of at a disadvantage, as we all know. And goes, well, yeah, I can make like, a flaming sword in that with my fire, and I can do the same with my ice, or with my, with my ice quacks. I can do the same thing. You can? Like, how long have you been able to do this for? Like, I know we meet up, like, maybe only, like, 4 times a year, but it's, like, you haven't told me this before. And she go, oh, I guess I forgot to tell you. I've been able to do it for quite some time now. Like, me and Mum have been practicing. Like, our mum's been showing me how to use my ice and fire. It's like, your fire? It's like, well, yeah, my mum says, because my fire is so different from my dad's, that, she's not really afraid of it. And of course, the reason why is because, well, it's fire that, because her will, if she inserts a will onto a fire, well then, so I guess her fire is able to burn anything, well, even burn anything, or, she's able to touch things with a fire but it won't burn it. So, of course, she kind of knows that, because when she was like 2 years old, of course her quack did activate, or at least the fire did. And this is when we kind of thought that Deku had 2 quacks, or believed her daughter had 2 quacks, because, well, Endeavor, because she ends up crying, like she's hungry, she wants food, and she's only, like, well, I guess, like, roughly 1 year old, so she's, wants food, she's hungry, so she ends up crying. And, well, Endeavor, runs and tries to calm her down, and ends up getting, like, a 3rd-degree burns on his hands. It's that hot. And, of course, he ends up, running and taking, Deku off of him, and she ends up not getting burned because, well, You know, she pretty much wants her mum. Well, she wants her mum now. She doesn't really like her dad's face. I guess she thinks her dad's face looks scary. That's why it started burning him. And of course, once she, stops crying, once we ends up making Deku happy. Of course, once she deactivates her crack, she finds that her fingers have got ice on them. And of course, Endeavour just, thinks, oh, that's just how, Lee was managed to touch Deku was because of her ice crack. Well, it's like, no, that was Deku's body regulating her temperature. That's, why. And, so it's like, oh, yeah, I remember that. You did end up giving that, store to the state store, obvious way to hold, tried holding it is that, oh, that's his own fault. He shouldn't look so scary. And yeah. So Todoroki's he doesn't really want to use it in front of his dad. That's what he ends up then agreeing to. So, well, fine, and I'll use my fireside, but at least not around our dad. So, okay, fair enough. If you still hate him that much, fine. As long as you do use your fireside, I guess that's really all what matters. And of course, then time's up and she ends up going, I guess, see you soon then, brother. And, she ends up, running home then. And, we ends up telling, no, not me. Deku ends up telling, Mum what she did to what she did to, what her and Saito ended up speaking about. I'm pretty sure I'm talking too much now because my throat's now hurting. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, and then like a couple of days later, when she goes, when her mum takes her into UA, she's like, oh, hi Nezu, because they would have gotten along together. But when she first sees, of course, Principal Nezu, she goes, teddy bear. Yeah, she just thinks, oh, teddy bear, and runs up to it. And her mum's like, no dear, that's not a teddy bear, that's the principal of the school. My boss. That's Nezu. Oh, but it looks like Nezu's like, no, teddy bear. She just has a little argument with her mum and I forget her name. Midnight, that's one. I would think, Midnight, and I think Midnight and Cementos, would just be there, and they would, because Midnight would just be, oh, so cute, and that, she'd then, hide behind the mum being still only being, little, even though she's smart, she's still, nervous around people. She's still, I guess, roughly scared of people. When you're little, you are going to be scared of people, or very scared or very nervous. And of course, Midnight and Cementos would just be the two people who mainly babysit her and teach her, because they end up finding that she's almost to the point where she's almost too smart even for UA. So she's taught like maths and that and everything else. like some stuff in like year 2 and some other stuff in year 3, and anything else that she's higher than is then like Midnight or Cementos teaches her. So if she's not in the class, she's generally then with either Cementos, or most of the time she'll end up being with Midnight or that. Yeah. And of course, Midnight would go, because Nezu would ask, would ask, what's your quirk, dear, or what's your quirk inside name? Because I'm going to say Deku. So, what's your name, Deku? What's your name? No, what's your quirk? It's like, well, my mum says I've got 3 quirks. They'll think she's got 3, like Nezu, Cementos, and Midnight. All think 3 quirks, and look, and he's just moaning like, yes, yeah, like, yes, yeah, it's got 3 quirks. And they'd go, well, what are they? Well, when it's like, what my mum said calls like dragon flame, and would, show it and go, well, you can touch it and it won't hurt you, but I can, because I'm putting I'm forcing it to not burn anyone or burn anything. It's like you can force it. It's like, yeah, in other words, I put my will onto it. I'm pretty much, forcing it to not burn something that I don't want it to. And it's like, of course, I can use this all over my body. It's like, okay. And my other quack is an ice quack, or my mum's ice quack. And it'd show it. And okay, what's your third one? Well, it's the evolved form of that. Or as my mum and the quack doctor called it, blue ice. As it's, can't be, at its most compact form that I can do it, can't be burnt by any fire except for mine. It can't be melted by any. It's like, whoa, that's some pretty strong ice there. That's cool. Wow, that's incredible. You should go, thanks. Just being like they'd be in their heads, dang, that kid is strong. Yeah. And well, of course, Midnight and Cementos would be also the only 2 besides from Nezu that knows todoroki and todoroki's background. Yeah, everyone else would just think, she's like working her hair while she's still like living with Endeavour and that. That's what the other teachers think, but no. Yeah. And well, when she turns 14 years old then. So when she turns, of course, 14, well, they ask her, are you going to be, like, what school are you going to be? Well, no, not when she turns 14. Actually, yeah, when she's 14 years old. Yeah, it's like, well, what school are you going to, like, what? I guess hero school are you going to go to? Because it's clear by now that, she's going to want to go to a hero school. It's like, well, I want to go to UA. It's like, and they're like, well, yeah, that can make sense. I hope you would have, come here after all the time, we've spent together. But it was go, oh, don't worry, Midnight, I'll be coming here. Yeah. Yeah. So much just like she's like, oh, she's like, oh. would you have missed me? You know, if I went to another place and Nezra would go, well, yeah, you know, it's like, you know, become like Nezra would go, well, I think we'd all miss you. And Deku, as it's like we've become family, we've gotten used to, you know, being with you and that. And I think especially at midnight, I think, you know, she would especially miss you. So, yeah, I think that's the one thing that Deku likes to do is wind up midnight and that. Yeah. And well, so if that one goes, I had to pause it because I was I started to sneeze. I wanted to sneeze. That makes more sense. I wanted to sneeze. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, I think I always say I think when no. Hopefully that's the last distraction that my body does to me. Anyway, so yeah, when Deku's around like 12 years old, when she's 13 years old, well, Nezu would, you know, when she goes in, when her mum's brings her in, then Nezu like, Deku, would you be so kind as to teach year one, first year's some maths? You go, sure, but why? You know, why is that? Their first year teacher's gotten ill, and they need, you know, someone to teach them it. So I'm pretty, because the first years would be then what is now called the Big Three, or the top 3 UA students, and I forget their names. But yeah, no one is her name is that one, that Million? Yeah, like Million, 1 million, yeah. Anyway, the guy with permeation, I forget his name. That, and well, yeah, she ends up going it. Well, Nezu she goes okay, Nezu. And Nezu, you know, walks on the class and goes, well, this is your substitute teacher for today for maths. And everyone would go, what, a kid? Like, what, like, they'd be thinking in their heads, why has Nezu lost it? And, you know, I don't think they believe you. It's like, well, just do something hard for them and they would quickly believe you. They would quickly, you know, realise that I'm not joking. And, well, you know, she'd go, okay. And then after writing a hard sum on the board, so we go, it's like, come on, you know, figure that out. No, that is your, you know, mastering, come on, figure that out. That should take you, I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe even less to figure out. And what you've got to be kidding me, that's hard. It's like, come on, I can do it. So you should be able to if you think I'm only a kid. So come on. And, well, yeah, after, you know, like 10, 15 minutes, one of them actually finally says the answer. Yeah, you know, it's like, yes, and now for the next one. Next one. So for however long the maths lesson is, you know, she's just doing hard ones, and they all, once the bell goes and it's the next lesson, they're all just in the house like, God, oh my God, that kid is smart, oh my God. And, you know, well, the next teacher would go, well, I hope you had fun in maths. Because, man, I know I know Deku she's incredibly smart, so that was probably really hard for you. She's smarter than a lot of our UA teachers, I hope you know. And they'll just be, what? It's like, yeah. Nezu tends to be now the only one that teaches maths and some other subjects. Nezu tends to be the only one. Nezu and Midnight are really the only two that tend to teach her now. As their maths drop to the floor because they can't believe that. And yeah, so because she wouldn't really get a recommendation, to go to UA because, well, she's been there for so long. She just, she already has a school uniform. So yeah. Well, they know where the house march is, so she doesn't really need to do any of the tests. Of course, Saito does, or Todoroki. I'm just going to call him Todoroki for now on, because it's really the only thing that I tend to remember. So Todoroki does still do the test, and yeah, so all that stuff stays the same, even though if they have a score though, he's got a higher score because he is stronger. He has, got a sister with a very powerful that knows how to control a quirk very well. So he is smarter, and of course his quirk, his half cold quirk is stronger. And his control over his fire side, he can kind of regulate his fire side. Yeah. And yeah, he's slowly learning how to by the help of Deku. Anyway, so of course when everyone roughly comes in the same place, so yeah, I think Baku does come first on that. And of course when they'll go there, of course, Deku's just there waiting in class, just waiting there. I'm wondering where everyone is. Once she would have, dragged that teacher, I forgot that teacher. She would have dragged Santo Izawa, in the class and would have waken up like, come on, Santo, you're not going to sleep. And, you have to set a good first impressions as our teacher. You go, just let me sleep a bit more. Nope. She's going, no, come on, you're a teacher. You're an adult, come on. That's your own fault that you don't really sleep well at night. And yeah. And of course, as everyone comes in, of course they actually see their teacher waiting for them. And of course, when Todoroki comes in, of course he sees his sister, sitting at the back. And he walks over and goes, you got in? How did you get in here? How did you, get in? I didn't, see you in the recommendation test. Sorry, is that? Oh no, Mum works here, so. And Mum's been bringing me here since she started working here when I was around 8 years old, so they got so familiar with me that they just really didn't need to. I didn't really need to take the entrance exam like you did to come on. Is that lucky? So yeah, I guess that's the quirk of the. The quirk of getting to know your teachers and headmaster ahead of time. Yeah, as you sit down next to her and talk for a little bit longer, and then once everyone's in, because some of them would know who Deku is, as the rumours and that would go or not know who Deku is, but they'd know that there's a student that actually teaches that, you know, how occasionally teaches classes in UA. So, you know, won't know exactly who it is. And well, of course, so it's good you're all here. Saito Zhao, your homeroom teacher, and goes, well, that's what he roughly says in canon. You know, like here, you know, he'd go out, introduce yourself, you know, come up to class and introduce yourself and your quirk. And, of course, that's the one thing that's different. Because, well, so you would have told Aizawa, well, so you would have been, you know, pretty much someone's ringing out Aizawa's neck otherwise. Yeah. And so, you know, everyone says, and then, of course, when it, and, well, you know, what's your dream, you know, what do you want to become, like, pro, you know, what, I guess, pro hero, like, you know, what pro hero do you want to become, like, what number, I guess, you know, you strive and become number 1 or that, and of course, Baku would go, I think his name's, yeah, Gatson, yeah, because, Baku go, and, well, my crack is explosions, eyes very, I've already forgot what he's about to say, but he'd say what he sweats, and I just light up and it explodes from the palms of my hands. And look was in his kind of rash voice, because I don't think that would have changed. No. Well, I think it may have been, I guess, slightly worse, sir. Yeah. It's like, you know, I'm gonna be the next number 1 hero, and you all are extras. Todoroki, you know, introduces himself, tells them what his quirk is and that he's, you know, also striving to be the number 1 hero. And of course, when it comes to Deku, Deku kind of goes to his goes, do I have to explain that do I have to say I've got 3 quirks, or do I just blend the 2 ice quirks together? It's like, no, you have to say all 3. Well, okay. And well, you know, she goes, well, she'd say her name, you know, Todoroki, and Yasmiya and Saito are twins. I'm his twin sister. And yes, we are related to the number 2 hero Endeavor. But I haven't really seen my dad in, like, 8 years now, she'd say. Well, no, it would be, no, not 8, 9 years, because Deku's 15 when he's 14 when he takes the entrance exam, and he's 15 when he goes into UA. So she would go, yeah, I haven't seen my dad, I haven't seen Endeavor, my dad, in 9 years. And well, you should, and also guys, put in the comments down below what you'd call her quirk. When you keep in mind, you know, she's got 3 quirks, even though you can't really just count it as 2. You know, one being the dragon flame. It's like, you tend to say, yeah, you should go, I've got 3 quirks. One of them is dragon flame. The other one is, she would call, like, you know, white ice or clear ice, as she's able to reach a much better, so it's able to be like even more clearer than her blue ice, because the blue ice would have some blue in it. It'd look like it's like stained glass, but blue stained glass instead of just being like normal transparent glass. And goes well. I guess you could call it like white ice or transparent ice. I could make it as clear as glass. And my other croquettes are also which we call blue ice. So Ida would go and put his hand up and she'd go, yeah, it's like what? So are you, like how is that possible? You've got two cracks that are pretty much the same. It's like, well, they're not. My blue eyes is like it's an evolved form of the white ice or the normal ice quirk that most people tend to get. Most people tend to get, so that's why. And because my blue ice quirk, well, it's blue, like anything that I make out of it tends to be like, well, it's a lot bluer than the white ice, as my white ice quirk, anything I make out of it is, well, it's slightly more clearer, and it's, of course, doesn't have blue in it, or a lot less blue. And he would accept that, and he'd go, oh, okay, I see you. And then he'd put his hand up again, and he's like, then how is it possible that you've got 3 cracks? So I don't know, I was just born with 3. Oh no. So I don't know, ask God. He's the one who pretty much gave me them, so I'll ask him. Yeah. So, no. Not sad, yeah. So, well, Zara would go, okay, that's enough now. For the next lesson, you'll be, take these, put this on and meet me at the training field. He'd then go down and wait for them as, they all go to their locker rooms and get changed. And before I forget to mention it, of course, when, she was 14, of course, the principal, Nezu ends up, because they're, family now, or like family, Nezu would end up, telling Deku and, Ryu, that, that, All Might, the number one hero, or the number one hero All Might will be, working here as a teacher from now on. Or, when the new year comes, and he would be your hero teacher, like Deku. I would say her name, but I'm just saying Deku for, because I'm bad at naming people. So yeah. Yeah. So after, like a minute or while, after, like a couple of minutes, of course they'll all come out. And, Azara would, yes, Azara, yeah. Was it Azara? Yeah. Yes. Saito, yeah, Saito Azara. Azara would just be about, well, she would still ask, he would still end up asking, Bakugo, what was your height, what was your farthest throw, in softball, without using, like in school, without using a crack. It was like 67 meters, I think. So, okay, hey, but use your quirk this time. As he then, says, thinks what he normally does, and then says, die. As it go all the way over to, instead of it being like 705.3, it would just be 700 dead. Because I would think, all the times that you used this crack on Deku, but when that in school would give him at least sort of very slight training. So that, so it'd be 700 or maybe like 704. So 703 to 704. Yeah. And then, once everyone goes, through it, of course. As you know, then after everyone go, oh, that looks fun. It's like you go, as I goes, fun. Well, I'm going, this isn't meant to be fun. This is quite a test. And the person who gets last will be expelled. And also, or like I would end up asking, aren't we going to have homeroom? And he then goes, well, no, because I can remember, the, UA isn't a traditional school, it doesn't do all that stuff. As you know, this is a hero school, so for a hero school you have to, well, not you have to, but that's what UA does, And goes, I get to run my class however I like it. And yeah. And my dad's like, come on, come on, Isaiah, can't you be, less, less mean to them? And they'd think, oh my god, she's just spoken like that to Isaiah, and they'd go, no, you need to, you need to stop being so carefree. So, you need to be, it's like, so, being carefree isn't all bad. And he's like, whatever, just get your turn over and done with. And then Ida would again, put his hand up and go, how can you speak to our teacher like that? Well, no, he'd turn around to Deku and go, how can you speak to our teacher like that? Well, I've known him for, like 7 years now. I've known him for like 6 years now. So I can speak to him like that. I know what he can do. And he knows I'm a lot stronger than him, so there's no chance that he'd be able to beat me anyway. And he goes, still you shouldn't speak to a teacher like that. It's like, I speak to him however I like, I speak to you however I like. I'm not letting no one control how I speak to people. Yeah, she isn't exactly getting along with Ida, because Ida is a really stick up for the rules. Of course, Ida and Bakugo had an argument that would have still stayed the same. Yeah, anyway. Actually, no, it wouldn't, because she would have intervened and said, come on, can't you two just shut up already? That's what she'd, say. Go on, jeez, you two are like an old married couple, so shut up already. Yeah. And, like that teacher is there, and he is, watching them. It's like, plus that teacher's died, don't you think he would have said anything either if if Bakugo was doing something out of line? Which they would be surprised. How do you know our names? Or let's just say I've read your student files. I'll do, It's like, well, I am if I know the principal. Yeah, I just wanted to know who was going to be in my class this year, and he told me. Yeah. So yeah. Ooh. And yeah, just thought I should bring that part up too. And so, of course, he looks. Well, of course, Deku's the last one, and he's like, here you go. Because I already know what your score's gonna be. So, I've gotten a lot better since the last time you did this correct test on me, Aizawa. As they would be kind of surprised that, it's like, yeah, I think she would, do it maybe once, once a year just to see how good her quack's gotten on the controller. So it'd be like, she first freezes all behind the quack, all behind the ball, like she wouldn't freeze it, but she'd kind of freeze her hand, so it'd make her blue ice and make it incredibly cold. She's also able to do that with her blue ice, make it incredibly cold, very cold. And then, she uses her dragon flame at nearly its highest setting, because it causes, she makes a kind of tonal, so as it goes out, it accelerates the ball, and or you just see this massive explosion from a tiny from tiny thing. That's what you see, is just the ball flying out with like with, of course, naturally it's like flame behind it. And it goes, so he's like reading 800, 900, 1000, 1100, 1200, 1400. And then it's just like, I think that's far enough. Yeah. And it goes 1500 meters. And they're like, oh my god, how? And they go, I didn't know you had a fourth quirk. It's like, well, no, I just super cooled the and then used my fire quirk to rapidly heat it up, because the rapid heat, it all of a sudden getting hot caused it to explode. And I go, yeah. And there's like, geez, you have gotten, but you've gotten 500 meters back. It's like, I could have done it. I could have made it, a bigger explosion, but I kind of feared that, the ball would have been blown to smithereens. So, yeah, that would have been bad. And plus, I probably would have flown in the other direction, Aizawa. Even though she's starting to kind of learn how to use her fire to fly. Yes. She's starting to learn how to do that. And so then, well, of course, in first place would be Deku, and I'm not sure, I think, in second would then be Bakugo, and in third would be Todoroki, and in fourth would be, I forget her name, the girl who's like the girl who's got creation, the girl with the creation quirk, that she can make anything as long as she knows the atomic structure behind it. Yeah, and also as long as it's not alive. And this is where I'm going to end it here, because this part is over an hour long, and I'm not sure if I make it any longer, or nobody's going to watch it. I don't know. But guys, if you have enjoyed this part, and if you want to see part 2, well, you don't have to tell me, because I'm going to be making part 2 anyway, so yeah. Anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed it, if you enjoyed it, and you want to see more just like this, subscribe. I'll see you in the next part of it, and a good bye. Bye, guys.